Hello Year 4, how are you and welcome to today's RE lesson. In RE we are going to understand why Puja is important for Hindus and how it is practiced at home. So before we do that, I would like to give you some retrieval questions. So thinking about what you learnt last week, can you remember the name of the room or area that Hindus have in their home? And then when you have written down what that room or area is called, can you look at the image and can you remember what is usually found in this place? Now you have this in your resource pack as your retrieval activity. So I would like you to spend between 5 and 7 minutes writing down on your resource sheet, or if you can't print it out, on a piece of paper. And I would like you to identify the things that are in this room that Hindus normally put in it. So this is thinking about what was in last lesson, okay? So pause the video now and go to your resource pack and work on that now, please, okay? Pause the video and off you go. Okay, did you remember the name of the room or area that Hindus have in their home? That's right, it's called a shrine. And we remember from last lesson that Hindus have either a room dedicated to this shrine or just an area or corner of the room that this shrine is found in. Now, there are lots of things that are in a shrine, and just really briefly reminding ourselves of these things that are included in a shrine. So a lot of the time in a Hindu shrine, there is a picture or a statue of a deity. Do you remember what a deity is? That's right, it's the Hindu gods and goddesses. And these statues or pictures are called murti. And this is really, really common to have in a Hindu shrine. All Hindu shrines will have this. There may be beads that are included in the shrine. There may be offerings of fresh food and fresh flowers. Incense may be lit in the shrine to make the air purified and clean and smelling really fresh. And candles that this woman is holding or oil lamps may be lit just to represent, do you remember what it represented? Yes, that light is better than darkness. Fresh water may accompany the food and flowers that are placed in the shrine. A bell may be placed in the shrine. And finally, the kumkum powder may be placed in the shrine, which mixes with the water to make a colourful paste, which they pop on their forehead of themselves or the murti to show this devotion to their god. Okay, well done if you remembered that. Fantastic. So, we're going to jump into today's lesson, and my first task for you today is to think of each of these statements. And I want you to figure out whether you can mime each of these actions. Remember, miming means using no words. So can you think, well, this says being pleased to see someone. How might I mime being pleased to see someone? I might smile and wave, and I'm not going to speak, but I might smile and wave, okay? And that's me showing that I might be pleased to see someone. Can you have a go at the next 5 and create some actions, no words, to show how you might mime these actions? Pause the video and have a go. Okay, how did you do? Did you manage to find some actions for some of them? If you might give a present to someone, you might receive a present. You might shake someone's hand to meet them. You might say sorry. You might say sorry like this. Okay. Now, all of the things you just did are something that Hindus do on a daily basis. Now, not exactly how we did them, the same actions, but most Hindus in their shrine perform a daily act of worship, and this is called the puja. Now, some of the actions done during the puja are similar to the mimes that you performed. And a puja is a little like having a conversation with a deity, so the Hindu gods and goddesses. And today we're going to learn exactly what the Hindus do during this daily act of worship, during the puja, and some of the rituals that they participate in too. Now, on the screen here is an image of a puja tray. Remembering that puja is performed every single day by many Hindus, and it's performed in their shrine, okay? Now, an important part of puja is making offerings to the deities, to the gods and the goddesses, and they use the puja tray to do this. Now, we're going to look at this puja tray in a little bit more detail in the next slide, but I want you to think, what can you see on this tray? What do you think each of these items might be used for? So pause the video and have a look at the image and think, what do you think each of these items on this puja tray are used for? Okay, off you go. Okay, how did you do? Did you figure out what some of these items might be used for? Did you have a good go? Fantastic. So let's have a look at a puja tray in a bit more detail. And we're going to start by looking here at this bell, because I'm sure most of you were able to identify that the first item on the puja tray was a bell. Now, on a puja tray, a bell is rung so that the god, the deity, knows that they have come to worship. So the Hindu would shake the bell so that the deity knows that they have come to worship. And that's a way of them showing their devotion to God, that they really want to make the deity aware that they've come to worship. Now, moving around this side, here we have a water jug with a spoon inside. Now, you might have thought this was used for something else, but it's actually a water jug. And they would put water in this jug and they would use the spoon to symbolise how the Hindus are really clean and hygienic, and they really like to be pure. So they use this to symbolise the idea of washing and this purity. Now here, you might not have noticed, but this is actually a lamp. And the lamp is lit during the puja, just like it is in the shrine, to symbolise the light of God's presence. So Hindus really feel that they are really connected to God when the lamp is lit. Now, last lesson we looked at the kumkum powder and how that was used. Do you remember how it's made and what it's mixed with? Fantastic. The kumkum powder is mixed with water to make a paste. Now, when they use red kumkum powder, they make a red paste, and they put this kumkum powder in this pot here. And do you remember what the kumkum powder is used for? That's it. They mark their own foreheads, but also the forehead of the deity that is in their shrine. And all of this is to show their devotion to their religion and to God. Now over here we have some incense. Now, thinking about last lesson, can you remember what incense is? That's right, it's a little stick, and when it's burned it makes a smell, so it sets off a smell, and this purifies the air. So we can tell by looking at this puja tray that Hindus are very pure. They like to use these water jugs to symbolise washing. They like to use incense and lamps to purify the air. And finally, in the bit larger tray as opposed to the smaller one, this is where the food and the flowers are offered as gifts to the gods. Can you see some similarities here between the puja tray and the items that are found in a shrine in a Hindu home? Yes, they're very, very similar, if not really quite the same as what you would find in a shrine in a Hindu home. So it's all very similar. So you're going to be experts at this today. Now we're going to have a look now a bit closer detail about the types of rituals that are performed during a puja. So we already know that the Hindus would light the lamps to show that they are in the presence, the god is in their presence, but also that light is favoured over darkness. They would use kumkum powder, that's something that they do, and you can see here that a man is placing the kumkum powder on their forehead like they would do with the deity too, the god or the goddess that is in their shrine. Now, another thing that they do is light the incense. That's another ritual that they would do. And here you can see that they've got this stick in their hand and they're about to light the incense to create this sense of smell in the room. Something that they also do is they chant, they pray, and they meditate. And all of these rituals that Hindus do when they are completing their daily act of worship, the puja, is really making them feel closer to their god. Now, Hindus perform a puja to show their devotion to God. Thinking of last lesson, can you remember what the word devotion means? That's right, if you are devoted to something, you are showing your commitment and your love and your enthusiasm for something. So they are showing their commitment and their love to God by performing this puja. Now, something that Hindus also do, we know, is that they make offerings of food and flowers. And I want you to think, why are offerings made? What do you think they symbolize? And what do you offer to people and why? So if you've got someone that you can have a little chat to, that's fantastic. But if you don't, I just want you to think about the following 3 questions, please. So pause the video now and have a think. Okay, so you might have had some fantastic ideas about why offerings are made, what they symbolise, and also what you offer to people. Now, your task for today is to think about the items that we learned that are on a puja tray. Now, what I want you to first do is draw each of these items, exactly how they were on the puja tray. Now, it doesn't matter if they're not in the right order, but I've also included the little boxes beside it that you're going to use to write what each of the items are for. So it might be worth if you know that this is where you're going to write about the bell and what the bell is used for, it might be worth drawing the picture of the bell here so that you can draw a line to it and write about the bell here. Might be worth drawing the plate, which is going to have the fresh fruit and flowers, drawing a line to there, just so I can see what you've drawn a line to, and writing how Hindus use them for worship. So for each of these things, we've learnt about them today. What are each of the items for, and how do Hindus use them for worship? Now, with the incense holder, there's been a bit of an error on the worksheet, and there's 2 boxes for that. So what you just need to do is ignore one of the boxes and only fill one of the other boxes in, okay? There doesn't need to be 2, but there is only meant to be 6 things altogether that are on a puja tray. So once again, draw each of the items. The items are all here for you, so you can draw them all. And then in the boxes, write what each of the items are for and how Hindus use them for worship. All right, I do have a plenary here for you, and I just want you to think. Do people in other religions give offerings to God? Maybe you have a religion and you give offerings to God. What offerings do you give to God? Maybe you remember some religions that you've previously looked at and learnt about, and you remember what offerings that people in that religion give to God. Pause the video and have a think. Okay, some fantastic listening today, Year 4. Thank you very much. I'm really excited to see the items that you have drawn on your puja tray and how you describe them and how they're important to Hindus. Have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in our next lesson. Goodbye, Year 4.